Hello all, this is Dr. Masapudheeraj. I'm a senior consultant in the field of neuroanesthesiology, and today video is about why there are less profits in the intensive care medicine. And I know this is a kind of a shock for many people who are watching this particular video, who are thinking that there is a lot of profit being generated in the intensive care units. So this video, who should see this video? This video should be watched by doctors who are aspiring to become intensivists, because they would be thinking that a lot of revenue is being generated in the intensive care medicine, and their salaries also would be very high. So this is a kind of area which I would like to break the myth. And the second area is a common man also should see this particular video, because many people are thinking that they are being charged crazy amounts of bills in the intensive care medicine. So it might look very high when you see as a patient or patient relative who's paying the bill, but when you actually compare with other countries' intensive cares, what is the difference and how efficiently we are running in this particular country is what I'm going to cover in this particular video. Okay, let's dive into the video and see the math. So first let me explain you why before going into conclusions, let me explain you how the operation happens within the ICU. I'm not going to explain what kind of cases we are going to admit in ICU, we all know that. I'm going to go into the administrative details. So the operating costs within the ICU are very high, because you need experienced professionals, and in the next slide I'll show you what kind of professionals are required in the intensive care unit. And you need a lot of equipment. I'll also show you what kind of equipments and monitors are required to run the intensive care unit. Okay, and next point is the patient volume will be lower. So no ICU will have some 50 patients or 60 patients, right? 4 to 5 patients if you have consistently, that is considered a very good intensive care unit. And the pay, if you see the insurance, if the patient is covered in private insurance, then payment is reasonably good. If the patient is coming under the schemes of the government or other areas, then the payment issues would be there. So there is a pay mix in the intensive care unit. And regulatory compliances, there are so many regulatory compliances and regulatory regulations, requirements for the intensive care unit, where you need to meet them. You need to actually increase a lot of equipments and operating costs there. And the technology also is very high. You can see here, to run a very basic ICU you will require a very good ventilator, and you need all the oxygen and other gases supplies. You need a very good monitor, infusion pumps, and a good trolley which ICU cot which has all the advanced features, and with alphabet and DVT pumps, and so many things will come up. I'll show you the list of all the equipments that we commonly use in intensive care units. Okay, these are the common equipments that we use, like ECG monitors, non-invasive blood pressure monitors, and invasive blood pressure monitors, pulse oximeters, temperature monitors, cardiac output monitors, both invasive and non-invasive. In neuro ICUs, you have ICP monitors, EEG monitors, transcranial Doppler monitors, and near infrared spectroscopy monitors, pulmonary catheter monitors. So these many monitors are required to run an intensive care unit. It is not so easy. You don't think that there is one ECG and pulse oximeter and ICUs are being run. There are so many monitors being used. And it is not one doctor who's intensivist who is running. There are so many people actually. An intensivist is required who is a trained physician who's done MD in anesthesia or general medicine, and then who has done his DM or DRNB or fellowship in IDCCM or ISCCM or EDIC. And there is one person like that, and he will also have one or two juniors in each shift who also are either MD anesthesia people or IDCCM people to support him in the morning session, and every session would be having 2 people round the clock. Okay, then ICU trainees will be there who are studying in that particular intensive care, and then you have anesthesiologists covering for difficult airways sometimes, and you have ICU nurses and physiotherapists and pharmacists, okay, and then dietitians and speech therapists and occupational therapists and respiratory therapists who are working with chest physiotherapy and ventilator, and you also have support staff who should clean the urine and motion of the patient, and you have to position the patient in different directions every 2 hours, and so many people are working in ICU, which is actually increasing the operating costs. OPEX is operating costs. So all this personal salaries and everything, when you give, the operating costs are going up. And when you buy all the equipment, your capital expenditure is very high when you establish an intensive care unit. So you have to pay all your interests also. So overall, you are spending a lot of money in running an ICU. So now you understood where I'm going to. Now I'll show you the math. The math is, for example, you are running an ICU based business model, and then your ICU, for example, you charge around 50,000 per day. In some, it's variable. Some ICUs charge around 1 lakh per day. In some ICUs it will be around 50,000 to 70,000. Let us take the minimum amount of 50,000 per day, and then in 50,000, for example, so a patient stays on an average for 4 to 5 days, right? So 50,000 into 5 days. So in a week's time, 2,50,000 would be revenue generated from one particular patient. But here, the profit margin that you have, the industry average, I have done the research, it is only 15% in intensive care units. So you 15% of 2,50,000 is 37,500 rupees only will be coming from one patient in a week's time. Okay, so it is very less amount, 37,500. And if you compare this with OPD based business, so when you look from outside, you will feel that what is the income in OPD based business? One person would be sitting outside sending patients inside, and one doctor would be sitting seeing the patients. So in ICU, you think a lot of money is generated. In OPD based business, there is no comparison only, right? But I'll show you the math. Actually, OPD based businesses are generating more money. So assuming the consultation is 500 rupees, many consultation is 1,000 rupees also. Let us take a minimum 500 rupees. And then a doctor on average sees 20 patients in a day. Minimum only I'm taking. Okay, let us calculate the minimum, and then I'll show the maximum amount of money they make. So 20 patients, if he sees for 500 rupees, it is 10,000 rupees per day. But the profit margin in OPD based business is 60 to 70%, sometimes 80%, because there is no expenditure there. So what happens is, even if you take 60%, 6,000 per day is the profit. Okay, let us compare now. So in ICU, you made 37,500, right? I have shown in the math, from one patient for 5 days. For example, you have 5 patients like that. You are a very good running ICU. Then you would make 1,87,500 in a week's time. Okay, but at the same time, in a OPD based business, what happens is, you're earning 6,000 rupees, right, in a day. After the profit margin of 60%, if you take, then in a week's time or 6 days, one day you'll take holiday, right? 36,000 you'll be generating. If you're seeing only 20 patients, but if you're a decent practice and if you're seeing 40 patients in a day, 72,000 you would be generating every week alone, without any major help or resources or hangama and all that. So, and also I shouldn't mention openly, but they also get cuts from the diagnostics, pharmacy and other areas. Even from there they make money. We don't exactly know what kind of cuts they get. So overall they would make more money, I think, than intensivists. And this math is only when you actually charge 500 rupees. If you are charging 1,000 rupees, then 1.4 lakhs in a week they would be making. So now you can understand, I think, OPD based business actually generates more because the capex and opex, the capital expenditure and operating costs, are very less in the OPD based business. There are only 2 people, just one person sitting outside sending the patients inside, and you are actually advising the medicines and writing diagnostic tests. So that is the difference between OPD based business and intensive care based business. So important points I would like to mention here is that don't think that ICUs are minting money. If you're a common man watching this video, don't think ICU is minting money. And I would actually show you how much ICU in USA would charge in the next slide. Okay, you wait for that. And how efficiently we are actually running. And in the process of running, actually we are cutting down our salaries and salaries of nurses actually in the process. So for doctors, what you need to understand is, don't think that high revenue is being generated from the ICU. High revenue is being generated, but the profit margins are low. It's like high revenue, low profit area, and high stress and high risk, and all galadas will happen in ICU. In OPD practice, it is low risk and low revenue but high profit margin. So you finally make good amount of money there with less tension. So you decide where you want to be. Okay, that is the advice I would give. But if you think that you're generating high revenue, you can negotiate for more salary, that is not going to happen. Because if you really do that, what happens is you'll cut down the number of people required to run, and that makes the ICU unsafe, because you need a good number of people to run the ICU in each shift. Okay, once you become a senior, you will understand that. Okay, so most of the ICUs in India are running in a model of one senior who is actually a DAC or some DM, and they'll take one or two juniors in each shift and they will run. And an average of 8 to 10 people would be running an ICU. So one or two seniors would be the rest would be juniors. That is how they're running. So that is the standard operating model in India. So, but if you think that you can go cross the ceiling and earn like bigger clinicians, then it is very difficult because of this problem. To address this issue only I did this video, so that before taking you will have an idea. If you're passionate towards ICU, you take it. But if you think that you will reach a very bigger salary, very high salary, crazy salary, then as a job holder you might not. But if you set up an ICU, you will do it. Okay, if you set up an ICU, that's a different story. It's an entrepreneur's journey. That's a different concept. But if you're working in an ICU, if you're working in a corporate hospital, then there's a ceiling point. Okay, and please try to understand what I'm trying to tell. I'm not trying to tell that ICUs don't make money. It is like if you set up an ICU, it's a different story. Let us go to in USA. If you're a common man watching this particular video, this is the average cost of ICU per day in USA, $5,000. If you convert Indian rupees, it is 4 lakh rupees roughly. That is 10 times more than what we charge. So we Indian doctors are actually cutting down our salaries and nurses' salaries, and we're efficiently running and giving care to common man at 10 times the lesser cost than the hospitals in USA. Okay, so that is this is the point actually many patients and patient relatives should understand, and we are giving the same results like USA and at the very cheaper cost. Okay, you will be thinking that 50,000, 60,000 is more, but to run those kind of services, to run those kind of diagnostics, and to have such kind of monitors on the patient, to have such kind of experienced doctors working on you and so many people working on you, that is the amount we are also spending on particular patient. Actually, if we are charging 50,000 on you, we are almost spending 35 to 40,000 for running that kind of a service, and we are making only 10% profit in that. Okay, but we are still doing it because any hospital run ICU is the critical element, because if ICU backup is not there, we can't do anything else. We can't run complex surgeries, we can't treat complex patients, we can't give a very good experience and result to the patient without an intensive care unit. So we are running such kind of service, and it is more like a service, I feel. So intensive care medicine, if you're doing, than making good amount of money. So where we can make money, Dheeraj, if you ask me, you shouldn't focus much on making money from your job if you're doing, but work in good centers and try to innovate something in ICU, because there's a very, very, very big scope of innovation in ICU. These are called patents. For a world of patents, if you want to understand, you have to do a course, and the course is there in the description, and how to file patents in India. And that's a general patent. If you want to do, that is the way you need to do. You do the course and you'll know how to file a patent. But where all you can do in ICU? ICU is the area where I feel you can do a lot of innovations and patents. So you don't have to invent some kind of a new gadget. That is not required. Very small things also can be done. For example, there is a lot of noise in the ICU, right? That is actually affecting the doctors, nurses, and also the other patients. So you can actually think about some way of decreasing that noise and creating the environment more peaceful, which promotes the sleep and better, faster recovery of the patient. You can think in that way, and you can think that change the lightings in the ICU so that you can affect the circadian rhythm of the patients and improve the comfort and speed up the recovery. Or you can also think about digital nature. Like you can create digital screens to the patient, and they can actually see the external, they'll be feeling that they're actually outside, like a VR kind of experience you can create to the patient, so it'll affect their faster recovery might happen with that. And you can also connect the patient digitally with the relatives. Every time they don't have to see the patients, their relatives, digitally you can connect them through different technologies. There are different areas that you can actually work on and patent them, and then you can make a lot of money in future. The fortunes are made on patents, and millions of dollars are made on patents. You have to think like this. Than a conventional doctor working for salary, you go there, earn experience, try to innovate something. In the process, hospital also will like you, colleagues also will like you, you'll be passionate and you'll be innovating something, and then that changes your future. You can retire early. So that is my recommendation. And you do the course on patents, and then I want more intensivists to become innovators and file more patents in India, which we are lacking in, and then we will actually rock as a country and nation and move forward. So this is the course I felt it is good, patent filing in India. Link is there in the description, you can go through. Okay, and then thank you very much. So if you feel any issues there in what I spoke in this particular video, you can put a comment in the comment section. So most of my videos are like a platform where we can discuss. I want all doctors who are watching this video, put in your comments and tell me that I'm wrong or right or anything is fine. I'll take any comment. So and then we'll have a discussion, and I want everyone to comment. Okay, and we can build some kind of a community here, and we can work together. If you have some patent ideas, message me. I'll tell whether those innovations are good or whether they will work out or not. I would help you. Okay, or if you want to form groups with me, and I can connect interested people among in India and other countries, and then as together we can actually form more patents in India. Okay, so like-minded people, let us connect. Okay, and how to contact me, you all know that. Some of you have my WhatsApp number, some of you follow me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile also I'll keep here in the description. You can connect with me there, and Instagram also, Masapudheeraj. If you type, you can approach me, and we'll all connect together and do something great in future. Thank you very much.